we have this video from Steven Crowder. Elliot Page goes on a rant about toxic masculinity, and it's just as stupid as you'd imagine. Fantastic. Let's watch it.
We're doing a photo together. He's very hungry. Yeah. And like having that moment where I'm like, oh, should I also not? Like, should I also be
close
and
off?
It's just like, what the f, Elliot? What are you talking about? Like, oh, honey, you're the part of the problem.
What are you saying? We have to act like you're anything other than a very stupid, silly person who is not to be taken seriously on any level. You should be giving no advice to men. Remember Ellen Page?
Huh?
No. This is the thing too with social media now is people get into something and then they want to sell themselves to you as an expert. You see this with fitness, you see this with nutrition, you see this in some cases with politics, philosophy, journalism. They're like, hey, I just started this thing. So by the way, you should buy my book. You see it certainly a lot, right, with former OnlyFans who then start ministries.
What?
Yeah. Just, we used to go, all right, someone has to kind of pay their dues, do their due diligence. Especially as it relates to like life advice, specifically directed towards men or women, like women who used to give advice to women. The matriarchs would be older women who've been married, who've been successful mothers, who've raised generations of their own. Like, hey, gather around, let me teach you. Same thing with men, often a veteran, someone who's a respected member of the community. Well, let me tell you what a man is, what a man isn't. And everyone kind of would lean on the wisdom of their elders. Elliot Page has been a man for, I think, 8 minutes, and now wants to give you advice on how to be a man. I think she still has a vagina. I'm not sure if it's sewn up yet, but Elliot Page, Ellen Page, is going to tell you now what is healthy masculinity. Let's go through this. And by the way, please remove any sharp objects and or firearms from your vicinity because you'll be tempted to use them.
What does it mean to you to hear me say healthy masculinity?
Who cares?
Healthy masculinity to me is, or even just something I've
Speak up, ma'am.
felt as transitioning is like leaning away from whenever there is some sort of impulse or expectation you've put on yourself to like shut down or conform in a way that usually feels like this, like I am closing off.
But enough about wrapping your tits.
Kind of being like, oh, Elliot, maybe you should, talk with your hands a little less, or maybe in pictures.
Pause.
Because
these.
What the fuck was she talking about? Or I don't know. Sorry, I want to be respectful for sure, but it's very simple to describe healthy masculinity. Very simple. We've been co-opted in our society by performative masculinity. Your Myron Gaines and Andrew Tates of the world, they're performing as masculine men when really they're just chicken shit pieces of shit. Real men are your husbands, fathers, leaders, people like that. And healthy masculinity is displayed in a warrior poet sense. A warrior meaning you have the ability to provide and protect and do the things of a kind of a traditional man, but you also have the ability of being a poet, which is sharing love and being about love and expressing your emotions and showing affection to the ones that you love and being there for when people need you or asking for help. That's a warrior poet. Both sides, being able to toggle, know when to use what and when to use and what. That's healthy masculinity, not this whatever he was trying to explain about closing off, and like I don't even know what that meant. Let's see what Crowder has to say.
People on the left who want to make it seem like everything is nuanced. When it comes to gender, it's all a stereotype. Like, for example, like I realized like men, they're not allowed to talk with their hands. Have you ever met a Guinea? You ever met a French Canadian?
Yeah, how about a deaf guy?
Yeah, exactly. She's gonna be
You're not a man.
Yeah, you're not, hey, don't tell me, Miss Titless Wonder. I bet you, by the way, she'll apologize to the signing community quite soon. It's always like they always dress like a stereotype. Like, yeah, knowing what it's like to be a man because I grew a douchey chin strap beard and got a Dickies shirt at Hot Topic, I feel like I'm the authority now to tell men, you can talk with your hands. And men across the world, this is why we don't respect you. We're like, what? This is advice. You're not helping anybody. Let's continue with the absurdity.
Ever since transitioning, now I'm like, Johnny, I am smiling. I am smiling in those photos Whereas I used to be so, I could barely look at a photo of myself. I was always like,
How masculine.
and
I'm
now,
smiling. On those
and I'll be
photos.
Yeah.
say it, dude's like, hey, are you Victor from Umbrella
She does a
Academy?
dude's voice.
And we're doing a photo together. He's very,
Mm,
I'm great. You know,
Uh-huh.
and like having that moment where I'm like, oh, should I also not? Like, should I also be?
Close
And
off.
it's just like, what the fuck, Elliot? What are you talking about? Like, oh, honey, you're the
What are
part
you
of the
talking
problem.
about?
So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's
Well, hold on a second. You're part of the problem because you're enforcing patriarchy now by being shy to smile too much. What value does this person bring to the table in any capacity? Here's the thing. When people are giving advice, they need to be giving you advice which is actionable. Like, oh, you know what? Like, I realize, for example, I don't know, maybe she could give advice to a trans person, like, my testosterone was too high and so was out of whack, so I adjusted. So the next, psychopath who's doing hormone replacement therapy to convince themselves delusionally that they're man, like, oh, okay, you know what? I guess I'm taking too much testosterone. But instead she's going, I'm like part of the problem because I wasn't talking, because I was like this. And he's like, hey, bro, what are you saying? We have to act like you're anything other than a very stupid, silly person who is not to be taken seriously on any level. You should be giving no advice to men. Why? Because you have a pussy. Let's continue.
be healthy masculinity would be, well, what healthiness for anyone to just, love themselves.
Still reaching for
care
phantom breasts.
themselves,
Look at that.
ideally
Look at
get
the
rest
arms.
when they
That's how
can,
men hold their arms.
Just the practical basic, drink water, like eat a banana,
Yeah.
Still tell stories like a chick.
Yeah. So men out there, if you find yourself, at odds with other men,
Like, this person cannot explain anything about what it means to be a man, which makes sense because she's kind of pretending to be one. Now, I want to respect the person that she has become as Elliot Page. But you'd think someone that felt so inclined to transition into being a man would be more excited about that, about what it means to be a man and how to be a man in this world, and what kind of values that represents and what kind of strength that person has and how they're an addition to the world and what can they bring to the world and how can they make the world a better place, not becoming a man and then essentially labeling most things as toxic behavior and then not trying to do those behaviors, but still kind of acting like a woman. Because men are just, misbehaving, hairy, misbehaving women at this point, right? Fuck.
or maybe not being accepted amongst the group, or being confused as to how to enter the next stage of life, right? Wanting to become a husband, a father, a good leader of your community, a good embodiment of positive masculine energy. Drink a little more water, eat a banana. I think you're good.
Eat a banana in one bite.
Yes.
Whoa. Yeah, swallow that thing down whole. That's very masculine.
This woman fake transitioned to being a man so that she could then tell men, you know what, you've been doing it wrong
This whole time.
this whole time. This is why we can't allow this to be normalized in any capacity. I can't think of anyone less qualified to give advice on anything masculine or mental health oriented than Elliot Page. And we're going to be going over time on this. This is going to go on because
A little bit.
boy, we have a lot to say. And then they bring out the old tropes. These Native American tribes, actually,
Oh,
this is how we...
shucks.
It's complete bullcrap. They always try and point to some two-spirited thing or some matriarchy that didn't actually exist, or when homosexuality was completely normalized in some society and you find out that wasn't the case at all. We'll talk about it more. Just click that button. Join Rumble Premium right now. It's Mug Club. It's all the same thing. You get everything ad-free. We'll take your chat. We're getting increasingly pissed off. If not, go and continue watching Haley. Let's hear Elliot Page now talk about toxic masculinity. And by the way, toxic to the masculine body is excess levels of estrogen. But let's not talk about that.
And also just, doing what you can to be intentionally and mindfully not letting yourself get like swayed or twisted by the rules that I feel like end up like leading to so many of the problems that we see that are, do get inflicted by toxic masculinity.
Oh, thank you for letting us know what we should and
violence
shouldn't be, man, for 4 seconds.
Abuse, just general cruelty.
Mm.
And yeah, I think it's just like, healthy masculinity could just mean a really good cry.
I smell.
Oh,
I love it when I heard at the wall.
Like, even if he was talking about something other than masculinity, it's still absolutely ridiculous to listen to. They haven't like completed a sentence. They haven't said anything of value. They're just like speaking in like statements and using the hands and open and like, what the fuck? This person is like a legit actor. They should be able to have words that make sense come out of their mouth.
Water park from that very thoughtless, inconsiderate person is now
Made its way into the
has
show.
now made its way into the show.
Man, I guess my wife's wrong. It's very masculine what I do after sex. She's wrong about all of it.
Including the shivering.
Yeah, it's manly.
Sometimes being a man is just a good cry.
Mm.
By the way, this is also the left. Here's the funny thing is people on the right will say, not everything is gray. A lot of issues out there, I would say more than half, a majority of the issues are pretty black and white. They're pretty black and white with, you take some components, go, okay, that is TBD. It doesn't mean gray. It means that once we determine black and white, right and wrong, then we're going to deal with these issues where it may be on the line, because we may have a clearer picture once we determine the large swaths that are right, wrong, good, bad, good, evil. They're not able to do this. The left, who says that everything is nuanced, they're not able to actually explain any of the nuance. It's needless nuance. Well, maybe it's just a good cry. Just to be clear, men cry. You can read writings from Abraham Lincoln, George Washington. It's okay for men to, you don't cry over a boo-boo. You don't cry over a bad day. There's not a single man who you will meet who, if their buddy's bulldog dies and they're crying, will be like, little bitch. But if you skin your knee and you cry, people are like, hey, man, come on. Like,
Toughen up.
you're on our team. They're going to think our whole team is.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on sports teams my whole life. We've been in big games. We've been in big moments. We lose, something doesn't go our way. There's tears cried. I've been with buddies who've, lost an animal, lost a pet, lost a friend. Things have been hard and I've cried and they've cried. Like, there's this notion that men don't cry. Now, maybe men don't cry that often, but there's no shame in it, regards to the specific situation that you might be going through. And this whole notion of toxic masculinity is so fucking stupid, because masculinity is not toxic. There are certain people who can be toxic if they are men, of course, the same way with females who can be toxic. But the essence of masculinity is not toxic, and we have to remove that from our vocabulary, because young boys are hearing that and it's hindering their success in life.
Week. We understand, and we don't even need to discuss it. We understand some men cry more than others. Some men cry less. But it's not okay. It's not a good thing to cry all the time. She's listing that as a virtue.
Yeah.
Why?
She's listing it as a definition of healthy masculinity.
Yeah.
What is healthy masculinity? Oh, it's a good cry.
Mm-hmm.
No, list some things that are actually healthy masculinity, like, I don't know, learning how to spit.
Right.
Calling a dog with just a whistle.
Yep. Exactly right.
Protect your family.
That's the thing. She's giving advice on really masculine. Okay, let me ask you. You want to give men advice. How many team sports have you played? How many men's locker rooms were you in as high school? How many girls did you ask out who rejected you flat out and embarrassed you in high school or throughout college? How many businesses have you started? How many times did you work sweeping floors or as a janitor? How did you learn to deal with hair where it didn't exist before? Hey, how many children have you fathered? How many wives have you had at all? How many meaningful relationships with women who you had to lead, provide for, and lay down your life readily for? None of that?
Never suppressed a boner?
Never.
Actually, never. Not even in high school, not
Not
now.
in high school.
Never had to flip that boner up into your waistband? Oh, that's a fucking
Bill doesn't
vibe
get it.
right there.
Nope, she doesn't know about the binder walk.
No,
You hold the
no.
binder in front of you.
She has no idea. And by the way, I just to see how ridiculous the rest of this is, the setup for healthy masculinity, that conversation was the person hosting saying, when I think of you, I think of how you've gone from being a child star from age 10 to now, and how healthy you are and how healthily you walked through it. And I was like, she became trans. That's like the worst thing that you could possibly have happen to you, other, I guess, than killing yourself from it.
Right.
That's not a healthy thing.
Had a crisis of identity. It wasn't like she was like, am I an actor or do I want to do something else? Do I want to find a career in marketing or do I want to be a salesman? No, you don't even know what you are.
Yeah. You want to cosplay as a man.
Cut off your tits.
Because you think that a man should really basically just be a woman with some Dickies pants and like to have a good cry.
No, Stephen. Men, again, are just hairy, misbehaving women. And if they acted more like women, the world would be a better place. Hallelujah.
And men bemoan, just like feminists into men's spaces, bemoan that you are not accepted amongst men because it's men's problem.
Yeah.
It's not the trans individual who has never and will never be a man. It's not your problem. It's the problem of the man. It's just man hating is what it is.
Man hating, and then talking about violence and men. And it's like, oh my gosh, all the violence. Now do lesbians. Now do single mothers who have kids. Do all of those violent groups and then come back and talk to me about the violence that men possess the ability to use to defend as well as to commit crime.
Well, she can't identify righteous and versus immoral violence. For example, the reason that a very physically strong man, and this mattered more before firearms, the advent of modern firearms, but really when people talk about a man being powerful, they don't just mean with their hands, but they mean a man who is capable, for example, in what we would consider warlike acts. Defense, attack, right? The ability to protect a community, right? Lead, all of these things. Well, a big part of the reason that supremely violent man, as far as capability, not necessarily always in action, was respected, was so that he could protect the village, protect the children from predators like, I don't know, people who want to transition them. So maybe you might not like those men being supremely capable of violence because that violence would be waged against you in every era before, I don't know, 2015, if you ever tried to come for the man's kids and say, by the way, you can be transitioned.
I mean, Dr. Jordan Peterson is famous for saying, become the most dangerous man you can possibly become and have it under voluntary control. Dangerous means capable. That's what dangerous means, capable. Not dangerous like violent all the time, but capable. And have it under voluntary control.
That's a big reason why. That's the reason why women like it. It's not toxic. It can be toxic if misdirected, right? Violence directed at people who are harming or seeking to harm your family, your community, your tribe. That's a good thing, being able to protect them. Violence directed at your family, at your tribe, domestic abuse, for example, child abuse, for example, even fraud, embezzlement, right? You're damaging your community, but you also don't believe in tribalism. You also don't believe in a nuclear family. That may be why we also see far more women commit domestic abuse and child abuse. Oh, now put them in a man's skin. No wonder they're giving bad advice. Here she is discussing alphas, and here's something that you always see from the left, right? How often did they used to say, the biggest conservatives who are against gay marriage, it's because they're gay. By the way, the biggest, toughest guys, they're the biggest pussies. It's so simplistic and also factually wrong. Here she is going, all the guys who are seemingly like alphas, they're actually gay because that's what I want them to be.
And the alphas,
Yeah.
those dudes were alpha, really gay.
Zoinks!
They're cuddling and squeezing those genitals
What?
of their friends.
What?
Well, I mean, there's a certain thing about dudes who always talk about being alphas who are certainly not alphas. Your Myron Gaines, your Andrew Tates of the world. These people cosplay as men. They are the WWE version of masculinity. Myron Gaines recently said that living with a woman and being married to a woman is gay. That dude is the opposite of what healthy masculinity is. He's the opposite of what a role model should be. So I think there's a certain degree of where people who always claim to be alpha are not really that way. The dudes who actually are the best kind of dudes, who take care of their family, who provide, who protect, who actually do those things, don't have to tell the world about it and definitely don't stream for 8 hours a day like these fucking losers, Andrew Tate and Myron Gaines. They take care of business. They have family. They raise their children. They're present. They're loving. They're caring. Also, they're the father figure that their kids need. And so there is a version of where alphas, and they say that word all the time, they're actually just losers. Because no actual alpha, quote unquote, male ever talks about that. He just shows it through his actions. At least that's what I think.
hurts. Why would you do that?
there's- The alphas, they're being gay.
It really
What?
does map out the aggressive patriarchy and homosexuality, and that feels like such an illusion. The distancing of those things.
I will say, like, when I first started taking testosterone, I was like, okay. Like, I was like,
You were a Jerry Lewis movie?
You got a boner?
But
Oh,
Did I
wait.
just start going out and grabbing people without consent?
Right,
No. So
right.
I get
Neither
so
do
sick of,
we.
like
Right.
something
I
like
don't-
that being
Yeah, neither do
Right.
most
an
men.
excuse. It's
I
not
hate
a fair
that being the
excuse.
Yeah.
And
fucking
I'd say I've
narrative.
always been, you know,
Down.
horny.
Yeah.
Oh.
We down. Yeah.
A pervert. Now,
What I want to know is how did she get cameras in this office
yeah,
to know that we're grabbing each other's genitals?
I don't
all
know.
day?
I have no idea. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
gentle.
beside
That
the
takes
point.
trust.
think about it. She's like,
Who's doing it?
everything. She goes, oh, the guys. And by the way, you know, when I got testosterone, I was like, whoa, I'm a man. What are you talking? What you're like,
Zany.
Jerry Lewis, hey, lady.
Turn the Bobcat
I
Goldthwait
guess
all
you
of a
can
sudden?
grab him by the pussy and Hyman and Cliven. What are you? What?
Isn't that what happened when everyone went through puberty?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, well, but I don't grab them without consent. Neither do we. Hey, here's the thing. Like, you know, so that's the thing. The toxic, masculinity and the violence. All right. There are men out there who are rapists. There are men out there who actually do grab women without consent. By the way, very, 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 very low numbers. We all know this. We've debated this many times.
And also, fuck those dudes. Every actual real dude hates those motherfuckers. And we would never, we would beat the shit out of them if we seen anything happen like that. A real man would. Fuck those guys. That's where those rapists and child molesters and horrible people like that get the fucking shit stomped out of them in prison. Because no one fucking likes those people. And to class all men as doing that all the time is a ridiculous thing to fucking say.
Let's assume that those men exist in the numbers that you try and imply. Okay. How do you stop them? You realize that you and your view of you're useless, right? You understand that, right? You can't stop them because you're a weak woman. Oh, we find ourselves back at this same point. You need righteous men to be powerful, capable of what needs to be done. You don't want any of that. While you paint men with this broad, wholly inaccurate brush of being predators, men know that some men are predators. And that's how we're able to protect. For example, men can raise young girls. They can raise young boys. Women can raise young. It's very difficult for women by themselves to raise young boys. Why? Because the rate limiting factor is of predators. Now, how often do you see somebody with painted nails, right? Father's tea party, they're doing the girly stuff. They may not be good at it, but they can do it and they can make sure that that girl is protected from the predators. And they can make sure that their son learns how to deal with the world and the predators. A mom can teach a girl the girly stuff. A mom cannot teach a young boy how to deal with the violent predators. It's just not something she can do. She's not able to protect. That's why rights of women and trans are an illusion, because they can't be protected. So these people who want to destroy what they say is toxic masculinity, well, guess what? They would be the first ones destroyed, as we have seen, by the way, in every single communist regime, distinctly atheist, anti-God regime. The homosexuals and degenerates are killed first, which we're, of course, not advocating for. But if you want to reduce this down to, hey, we want to be progressive and toxic masculinity, what do you think happens if you've conditioned all of the good men to castrate themselves figuratively? Now the predators have free reign. Thank God Ellen Page is not taken seriously amongst men. Only dumb women in podcasts who look like Sideshow Bob. And here she is, Ellen Page, talking about how liberating it was transitioning, because, you know, you hear a lot of guys talk this way.
And like in terms of my transness, I feel so lucky because I feel like I've gone from a place where I could barely function. I was so uncomfortable to now kind of no matter what's going on, like my feet are on the ground. And I had to do all that digging and I had to like scrape through all those layers and not worry about what people were going to say or think and all that. And gosh, when you do get like feel like liberated from that and that shame that you've been carrying. Like that is what I would wish for everybody. And I do think that's what trans and gender non-conforming people
My thoughts exactly.
can offer.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. We could really tell that you were afraid of what other people thought of you, and you were ashamed when you were calling conservatives Nazis, when you were telling everyone that you were a lesbian and demanding and out there at the LGBT and stand up against Donald Trump and the pussy hat, right? You were so ashamed, as opposed to the conservatives in Hollywood who had to stay in the closet until the moment they came out and they were blacklisted. Yes, you're the one who had to deal with shame and people's perceptions of you. It's not like this is a new form of clout chasing. But to be fair, Elliot Page wants you to know that Ellen, whatever, she is an ally, and she was only able to do this because of privilege and incredibly invasive, unnatural medical intervention.
You know, finally getting to that kind of place in my life. And I think it made me able to engage more with the world in so many ways. And
like upload douchey
and I
ad pictures to
think
Instagram.
because
Yeah,
of
that's the meaning of
the
life.
amount of privilege I've, had,
Fake ad
the
pictures.
access to resources in regards to the care I've received. And thinking of, individuals who are just not in that position. And
The pores.
yeah, to me, it just feels like it feels very like natural and organic and just a part of what it means to be alive.
Yeah. No, it's very natural and organic to require hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of medical intervention to change your biology, which your own body will reject and actively fight for the rest of its natural life. That's how you know it's organic. That's how you know it's your true self.
I like how she had to address privilege, because she's like, oh crap, the host is a black woman, I gotta say something about the privilege.
Right. Yeah, exactly right.
It's like, I've had privilege because you're black and you haven't. I've had privilege.
Remember when everyone thought it was weird that Michael Jackson was white?
Yes.
But everyone was like, even if you liked him, you still like his music.
ah.
You're like, I don't know, maybe he's allergic to the sun. That's what he says.
Something.
It's probably bullshit, but it's a little weird. But now we're just supposed to be like, yeah. This is completely normal.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course, no, that's how we know it's authentically you. You're living your authentic self after double mastectomy, and after hormone replacement therapy, and after hair transplants. Yeah, of course, there's nothing weird here. We used to talk like, yeah, it's weird. Michael Jackson's trying to change his skin color, but now it's like, oh wait, you've changed your entire body.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fine.
you're keeping it real.
Just like Ed Gein.
Yeah.
When he's
Yeah.
wearing his mother's flesh.
Yeah.
That was the real him.
Here's what it is. There's something deeply, deeply disturbed. This is a reason that killers were often trans in films, whether you go back to Psycho, right? Dancing with his mom.
Yeah.
You go back to Buffalo Bill. The reason is because there's nothing more indicative of mental instability than hating yourself and literally feeling uncomfortable in your own body. Feeling like an alien in your own body has always been seen as a very strong indicator of someone who is detached from reality. There's nothing more detached from reality than, this isn't my body, but it is. But I really feel like it's not, but it is.
Let's work through the fact that it is, instead of starting to chop things off of it.
Right.
Start there.
Right. I've said this, and I said, going back to Rachel Dolezal, I remember saying, you know what? It's far more reasonable to say that you can change your race than your gender.
100%.
Far more reasonable.
Especially if you're on the line,
Yeah. The difference between a black man and a white man, the average black American man and the average white American man or woman is far, far more minute compared to a man and woman. Yeah, okay,
Right.
Skin color, maybe some height, maybe fast twitch muscle fibers, maybe some facial features, but overall, you're going to be much more similar. So for someone to get some fake tan or someone to bleed, whatever Michael Jackson did, that's far more reasonable, and your body rejects it far less than actively trying to change your biological sex because you've made up some term like gender.
I don't think that Michael Jackson's thing was voluntary.
He said he was allergic to the sun.
I always thought it was a bit of LIGO.
Yeah, there's a condition that
made him
yeah,
white.
it changes the color.
Your
It takes
whole
away the
body?
Yeah. You lose melanin and you lose pigment in your skin.
It
Okay.
didn't give him all those nose jobs.
No, it didn't all the nose jobs and the
Nothing did
hair
that.
straightened.
I
and the
fooled around with a
wigs.
lady. She had one of her breasts was she had that condition, and one of her breasts was all white.
Yeah, well, I know is it
was
vitiligo
odd.
or something like that, or
Vitiligo.
yeah, vitiligo. I know that, but I've never seen anyone where their whole body goes from black to white everywhere. I'm sure it's a thing, but the point is, everyone thought it was weird. All the surgery. You
Yeah.
can say Zsa Zsa Gabor, right? Plastic surgery.
He had surgeries up the ass.
Yeah, so he had vitiligo, which gave him patches, but then he used
Aha.
prescription creams to depigment his remaining dark skin.
So to
Okay.
even it all
To
out.
match.
Yeah.
Okay. So he went.
What's worse?
So he went the other way.
We still thought that was weird. We thought the nose job was weird. That used to be the line. You get like some bad plastic surgery, and we're like, you look weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, a quick Google search will tell you that Michael Jackson had confirmed medical skin condition called vitiligo. Vitiligo is a chronic autoimmune disorder where the immune system mistakenly attacks and destroys melanocytes, the cells responsible for producing skin pigment. Okay. Yeah, there we go. And then he obviously did a bunch of other stuff. And yeah, so there's brief information. I know they might have just stated that, but there you go.
Now we're like, you're cutting stuff off. This must be the real you. Glad you finally got there.
And yeah, and here's the thing. Here's how you know it's evil. This whole LGBTQ ideology is they cannot conduct a long form interview without veering off into or including the advocacy of other forms of evil. What do I mean by that? I mean a godly prescription, what we believe to be true, but also societally has proven to be best for a most productive society. But let's just go with the biblical principle. What God has said is good. What God has laid out as a prescription, they seek to tear down actively while declaring it good. You know, like banging lots of different people in an open relationship.
That was the thing in Sex at Dawn that hit me too, that like tribes and communities used to so much less binary, not your one partner openly and whatever for like bonding between communities. I was like, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because you're a whore.
I mean, the imagery is stuck in my mind of tribes like having.
Nope. Monogamy is the best. Having one partner, husband, wife, is the best way to also raise children. So whatever this is kind of cope for just wanting to have sex with this shitload of people. Just be single then for the rest of your life if that's what you want.
A woman having multiple male partners, and you wouldn't even know who specifically.
Sure, whores have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Because the
We've
whole
always had
group
whores.
was taking care of all
And you
the
shouldn't be a
kids.
whore.
Totally.
It really blew my mind. That
Yeah.
book. I was so excited that you read it.
Yeah, they were also selling their
'Cause I thought the
daughters.
Same thing. Like
Mhm.
if you, when you know this stuff, and
Liberating.
you unlock that
When you know.
knowledge of like humanity, it makes you like feel closer to your own humanity and less ashamed of it.
Yeah, but you should be ashamed of it. You
A
should be
lot.
ashamed of saying stupid things because you're a stupid person. They just say, they go, once you unlock that, no, that's not correct. Sure, you can find examples of everything historically. You still can find some examples today of tribal societies where if you take a Polaroid, they think you stole their soul and they try and spit roast you and literally eat your flesh. That doesn't mean that it's the norm, and it doesn't mean that it's a good society. Monogamy, pair bonding, is by far the most common form of relationships, mating across history and societies. Here, actually, Lane brought this up. This is from Pew. I believe we also have a link to Frontiers. They did a study of 190 hunter-gatherer societies. Okay, and by the way, it becomes even more stark when you go to agrarian societies. Less than 20% of men exhibited polygamous behavior. And the numbers, I don't even know that they would register for women because historically been far, far less. And this is very simple. When people go, well, why can men? Why is it considered slutty if a woman does it? It's really simple. Paternity. Before modern paternity tests, you didn't know. The woman always knows who the father is. The man has one way of knowing that she's a virgin, that you can verify. That was the only way to, and that's why. So less than 20% of men. You can look to the exceptions and say, so that's what we should do. Or you can go, well, why is it an exception to the rule? Because a lot of these examples, even that you would point to.
Also, the data is pretty clear that marriage for men makes men better. Now, of course, there's bad and raw deals. Of course, maybe you married the wrong person or you get married young and people change. And of course, there's divorce rates are high and yada, 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 yada. Those things might be true. But if you find a woman as a man who really believes in you, who really loves you, that woman is going to make you better, the best version of you. And there's no better relationship you can possibly have than with your wife or than with your children and with your family. And that's the best possible route to the most meaningful life.
Less than 20%. They then migrated away from the polygamous societies. You can see that in your own lifetime. I say this with all due respect. Mormons, for example, you have some smaller Mormon sects that still do polygamy, but once upon a time, it was more mainstream.
Yeah.
Now less and less. You see it with Islamic groups of people once they go into Western societies. Not, of course, when you actually go to Islamic societies, they still practice it. But historically, people become more and more monogamous as their society evolves because they realize that's actually ideal. It's the best case scenario for the rearing of children. Now, there have been some societies that have been more accepting of women on the side, for example, affairs. Yes, but they want you to think that this is the norm so that they can try and present it as a moral alter. It's just a choice. It's just a choice. Do you want to be a polygamist, have an open relationship, or a monogamous one? No, it's not a choice where you have two equivalent options. One is bad, one is degenerate, and one is better for those involved in the relationship, certainly, irrefutably, the children and society as a whole. But once you free yourself of it, then you realize you can just chop off your tits, keep your vagina, claim that you're a man, give men advice, and be in an open relationship and just tell people that you're happier. What advice do they give ever that's helpful? Because I see what advice they give that's corrosive. It's an evil ideology across the board. You see, it's never just like, hey, by the way, no, it's, hey, we should also transition children. And hey, you should have open relationships. And hey, here's this new weird sex thing. And hey, we also need to transition children. It needs to be taxpayer funded. And hey, abortion on demand. And hey, look at my pussy hat. And hey, nipple piercings. And hey, let's normalize all the things as though it's the same as a father in a middle management button-down shirt and a pocket protector coming home to meatloaf and two kids in pipes and slippers. It's not. One's good, one's.
Yeah, I don't like the argument where they say like, yeah, you could just do whatever you want and it's fine. It's not harming anyone. Well, there are things for a flourishing society that are better than others. There are things that are more ethical. There are things that are more moral. That are things that lead to more happiness and more fulfillment. These things are true. Yes, I guess the idea that people can literally do whatever they want, but there are consequences to those actions, and there are better and worse choices. And I think that has to be talked about. Of course, nuance is allowed, but there isn't nuance in everything. There's nuance in certain situations, and I think we should apply that nuance. But there are things that are better and worse. There are value systems that are better and worse. That's true.
Yes,
yeah.
Joe.
And what I was going to say is like every one of these things that she described doing is like, well, I feel this way. So therefore I need to go this. Nothing that she described was hard. Like overcoming, mastering things, changing the way you think about things. We both had to do that in our lives. We've had to change how we view things, even in difficult situations where you have a right to go a different direction. You got to go, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to change how I view this so that I can get through it. And it's going to make me stronger and better. Right. None of those guards were on there. It's like, well, you just want to have sex with a bunch of guys. So come up with a reason that makes sense for her to be able to go do that, the host, right? So it's all these tribes, they used to do it. That must be the way, and we can get rid of this shame. Like talking about how she was insecure, talking about all the other things that she brought up, all of it was, well, I feel this way, so I'm just going to do that. And I'm going to come up with reasons why that's good and that is right.
Right.
And then try to prescribe it for.
We also have to know that our feelings can't just dictate every single decision we make in our life, or we're going to make a lot of wrong decisions because feelings fade. And so I think that's important as you mature and grow older, not to trust every single feeling that you have, to honor them, to respect those feelings, to acknowledge it, to accept it, but not let it drive every decision you're ever going to make.
Like, it's the same with the two-spirited thing. It's not a thing. It's a new made-up term. It's not a thing. There might have been a couple. There might have been some Algonquin somewhere like, oh, I don't know, Sleeping Bear's a little light in the loafers. He might like whatever it is. They didn't say like, yeah, we're all going to be like, hey, maybe we should create a whole new category on the census for him, gender-wise. Like, what do you think? Let's go with pansexual.
Yeah.
No, they were like, get your bow and arrow. We're going hunting, you little bitch. That's it.
These ideas are thousands of years old and recycled and recycled and recycled. And now add technology to it, and you can do to yourself whatever you want to run from God.
Right.
That is what this is, denying God and going, I am God. And therefore, anything that I think and want to do must be good. And I can find some justification for it. That is all that is happening here, and it's been happening forever.
When do you ever see the left? When do you ever see them espousing the message? And think about this for a second. They'll crap all over Andrew Tate and people who we disagree with, by the way. But at the very least, they get something right. They talk about delayed gratification and investing and building and how it's going to take time. When do you ever hear that from the left? You just hear them talk about pleasure and what makes you happy in the moment. I'll tell you this. My parents, I've told this story. My parents thought it was a joke.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously something to be said about doing hard things on purpose to armor yourself for the challenges of life. That is an absolute fact.
12, I was turning 13. And, I went from the way the way we grow, I go from skinny to then short and fat. I had a girlfriend in the 8th grade who was like 3 inches taller than me. And I was short, fat, and a kid one time went, hey, you got titties. And he did this. He went, boop. And I was like, ah, but it still kept vibrating. I was like, that is a titty.
It won't stop.
So I was like, man, I want to work this off. I don't like the way that I feel right now. And so I asked my parents for a gym membership. It was Energy Cardio on the corner of Victoria, and I think Churchill Street there in Greenfield Park. 225 bus would drop me off. My parents had to sign a permission slip, a waiver for me to go to that gym. My parents thought I was joking when for Christmas I said, that's all I want. That's all I want is a gym membership. I got it. And I went, and I didn't really know what I was doing training-wise. My dad kind of tried to help me, but, I just was embarrassed and wanted to do it by myself. But I did something. And my dad told me, like, look, this is good. You're laying down a base, a foundation, but until puberty really hits, like, you're not going to see that much. But once it does, trust me, you're going to be a late bloomer. I did it. Nothing. I got stronger, but you didn't really see the changes because there wasn't any testosterone. I still got made fun of. I still was in there 3 days a week. From 12, 13, 14, I'd say 15 years old, probably 15 years old, 16 is when I hit my first, I graduated high school at 16, 6'1", 140.
Exact same for me. Like I started working out at age 13. And then by the time I was 16, I hit puberty a little bit. Then I ended up being 6'1", like 225. But there's no better thing for a young man than to invest in going to the gym. You can learn so much stuff from the gym. Like what you put in is what you get out. Consistency, discipline, effort. You can meet people there. You can talk to strangers. Like if you are a young man, the starting foundation should be getting in the gym and working out and then using that as a foundational tool for your other mental skills and emotional skills that you can potentially learn.
So now I went to tall and skinny. Mm-hmm. But it took a long time for me to see any type of gains. And then I hit my growth spurt and all of it just kind of came, boom, roaring through, went to 200 pounds over the span of a summer. But I put all of this in the bank with no actual measurable progress physique-wise and had to just do it on faith. My dad told me, hey, I was there. Look, here's my old driver's license. And I was lying by 2 inches and 20 pounds. We're late bloomers in this family, but it's good that you're starting this now. You're establishing good habits. Mm-hmm. You're building a strength base. It took a long time. There was delayed gratification. You think that?
Never.
Think this person went through? No, chopped off the tits and took it out of a vial.
Yeah, and had a privileged life before that. Not a great actress, in my opinion, but fair enough. You've gone on. You've done some shows. You ruined the last one, the Umbrella Academy she talked about. Wasn't a great show, but she became the entire story because she was going through this process in life of transitioning, essentially being a lesbian.
Yeah.
It's like this, everything's just always been about you, like the entire existence that you've had since you were 10, which is probably why every parent in the world should keep their kids far, far, far away from acting or anything like that at that age. Because gosh, like everything's been about you. So everything that you feel and think must be right. Nobody's told you that you're wrong.
And anyone who doesn't, if they're giving you advice, if it doesn't consistently include, look, this is going to suck for a while. You're going to do X, Y, Z, whatever prescription it is.
Again, that's why the gym is so important for a young man, because you may not see progress for 3 years, but that's going to teach you about delayed gratification. That's going to teach you about earning things and effort and showing up every day consistently, even when the motivation wears off. This is the cornerstone of building a great life.
You're going to have to do it with no expectation of return on your investment for the first good chunk of time, just so you know. You're going to have to walk. It's going to take a while. Nothing happens overnight. If the person giving you advice is not regularly telling you that, warning you of that, and telling you to push through anyway, they're a charlatan. Saying, actually, you should. I just think, what if I'd have taken the left's advice?
Yeah.
Like, oh, wait, no, I'm beautiful. It's a hate crime for someone to go, got a titty. No, he was right. That doesn't mean that you should advocate for bullying kids, but instead of just I didn't feel good. I can't lie to myself. That was a 12, 13-year-old with them titties, though. And I didn't like it. Imagine if someone said, hey, you know what? Hey, I wasn't really into sports as much. That's where I was into writing, acting. I mean, I did combat sports, but, people, hey, you know what? Actually, maybe you're a genderqueer. Now, if a man is sensitive, hey, there are plenty of men who can be sensitive and more creatively. You think every singer, every man who's in an orchestra?
Men, we are sensitive. We're just conditioned sometimes not to be, because there's weird tropes like Elliot Page thinks about men. That's why healthy masculinity is a warrior poet. I'm sensitive about my son, about my sister who passed away, about my family. I'm deeply emotional about my wife and how much she means to me, and my beautiful son, watching him grow up. That's a warrior poet. Musicians can write amazing, amazing songs about love and heartbreak. You think they're not in touch with their emotions? That's their outlet. And so it's a weird thing to claim this about men when Elliot Page wanted to be a man, and she claims to be a socially accepted man, but doesn't know anything about being a man.
Is gay? Every actor ever? Not even every male dancer. Those guys are incredible athletes, but you want them to, it must be gay.
My good friend, he watches the show, Lane. He's a dancer. He's been a dancer my whole life. Well, not my whole life, but since I've known him in high school, he's been a dancer.
Yeah, he's probably ripped.
Oh yeah, and he slays.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, he's got great moves too. So
Nice.
If I just accepted it, if I would have taken the advice from the left and all, I would have never become the person that I am.
Of course.
For better or worse.
The problem that she had where she couldn't live as her authentic self was Hollywood.
Right.
It was very simple. You didn't need to chop off parts of your body. You just needed to change careers and change towns. I mean, I would love to see if there's some kind of test you could do at that point for people in Hollywood that go, like, just remove them from that environment and put them in a different, more fulfilling, whatever job, whatever they want to do. Go do something else in a different part of the world.
coal mine.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, well, that's the
Put her in the
South
mines.
American dream. Yeah. But do that and just see what the results are. Like, you'll find that you're probably a much happier person when it's not all about you all the time. I don't think anybody does very well with that kind of
Drew
life.
Barrymore, I remember at an awards, I don't know if it was the Golden Globes, the Emmys, or if it was the...
Yeah, me. It's about me. That's going to consume you. One of the best things you can do for your mental health, which is very well researched and documented, is go be of service to other people, because it gets you outside of thinking about yourself all the fucking time.
Oscar, she said, I've been here my whole life, and you are all like my family. I was raised with you, and who could ask for a better family? Any girl who wasn't on cocaine at 10.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, everybody could ask for better family. Yeah.
Rehab at 11.
They had better families on Jerry Springer. Okay.
But they actually think this. But I felt really, but then you guys helped me get clean. Who got you dirty?
Yeah.
And I had a few uncles that were always there. She always talks out of her side of her mouth. Always there to touch me when I needed it.
That's right.
Whoa.
Right now.
Whoa.
That's right. Who
Yeah,
could
she was
ask
going.
for a
She was
better
going to
family?
parties when she was a little kid. Like
Right.
I know.
before she was 10, she was
Terrible.
under 10. Her mom was taking her to parties,
Right.
getting drunk, getting wasted.
That's bad.
But every time
really
the
bad.
kid that's messed up in the movie, it's
The child star in Hollywood is one of the saddest things. There's no way. I mean, Drew Barrymore is still alive, obviously, and seems to be doing okay, but you get messed up for sure in that. I mean, Elliot Page was a child star, and there's just no way to come out of that unscathed without any sort of trauma, which is really, really
Christian
sad.
household. Like,
Yeah, every
What,
time.
would you wear a denim skirt?
There won't be no dancing in my town.
That's right.
The hell?
Pimples are the Lord's way of keeping you chaste.
That, by the way, that is one of the craziest movie plots of all time. Footloose.
Yeah.
A town where the reverend is making the laws, and the law is that you can't dance.
Yeah, I know.
What an insane plot.
I know. It's just
Just kind of roll with it. We're like, maybe.
Yeah, okay, all right, fine. That's what it was. It was always a Christian fundamentalist, right? We're the crazy ones. Like they would go to Westboro Baptist Church. There's like 14 members and 11 of them have flippers.
It's true.
And then they'd be like, oh, snake handling. It's like there's like 3 churches that like do that anymore.
And we all laugh when one of the guys who's supposed to be like the lead reverend gets bit and dies from the bike. We're like, ha, you idiot, you heretic.
Yeah, it's funny. Whereas this is their entire community, Hollywood. It has a 100% divorce rate for first-time marriages in Hollywood, statistically.
Jeez.
100% divorce rate.
There are very few people that make it out unscathed.
Yeah.
With just like any kind of some normal.
They don't, especially child stars. They don't. There's just too much bullshit and whatever, I don't know, horrible stuff going on in Hollywood that we probably don't even know
people
about.
That do tend to run far away.
Yeah, you would imagine so. But anyway, she's been trying. I don't know. I got off trying to capitalize on her. Yeah, why wouldn't you? High profile transition. Ellen Page has also actually been selling her old body parts online, the lady parts specifically. By the way, I should add, seems to have a good mind for business because has had some success. There you go. Well,
Oh wow.
God damn it.
I'm a big guy. No.
Yeah, I mean that's a good business investment.
I was
Gerald.
hacked.
Is that for the office? Are you getting that for the office? We're gonna like mount it.
It can happen to Cormier. It can happen to me too.
Yeah, right.
God damn. All right. Good video. Thanks, Steven Crowder. Appreciate you.